Clay-Per-View. Watch Speedway live or on demand. And SRV Road Freight Services. Excellence in motion. Bring you Speedway Nation with Jared Ash and Ryan Harris. Right across the SEN network.
Our Premier Division, that's the thing that sells tickets around the country, and a massive summer season for those guys. There was a little bit of doom and gloom around the sport of Speedway when the National Series, the World Series Sprint Cars that many people have heard about, and the name registers and rings a bell when that was unfortunately scuppered at the lead into this season. But the sport's an exciting place. This is probably the best summer season I am looking forward to since pre-COVID, if we're allowed to say that word. But it's big things coming this summer, Ryan.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Kicks off on Boxing Night. Traditional night for Speedway, obviously Boxing Night right around the country. A little bit weird this year. Nothing in Brisbane, nothing in Sydney for Boxing Night, but take nothing away. Clay-Per-View Speedweek Series kicks off at Murray Bridge Speedway, which is fantastic in South Australia. Going to be unbelievable. It's a cool week, isn't it? So it's, 2 nights at Murray Bridge, down to borderline of Mount Gambier, South Australia. We go Avalon and then New Year's Day, traditional at Warrnambool, which is just a great week. Yeah, 5 nights of racing over the 7 days, as you mentioned, 2 nights at Murray Bridge, and then we move on to South Australia's borderline speedway at Mount Gambier there, which is always a wonderful venue at that time of the year, and it's there's almost no seating room at that venue for that show. $10,000 to win every night. First American's been locked in for that. The young charger, Chase Randall. He's got a cult following here in Australia. That kid, he is going to sell some T-shirts this summer. Yeah, unreal. Teamed up with Danny Mason again, so it's a great operation. The kid really surprised a lot of people. He came out last year, people were talking about Chase Randall, and it's like, oh yeah, sort of, no disrespect to the kid. He rolls in and went second quick. Ran podium straight up at Murray Bridge. The kid's a star. It goes on, has a great year in America in the domestic season over there. Comes back this year. We'll be on. Yeah. We'll be on, I'm tipping. I'm tipping second time around a lot of these venues is not dipping his toe in the water this time. He'll be pretty hardcore straight into things, I would imagine. Now, we haven't got any confirmed names for the entire series yet, but I'm leaning towards this could be a Jock Goodyer versus Lockie McHugh type speed week coming up. We saw those guys go head to head, and for those new viewers and new listeners to Speedway Nation, it's they're the two it names in the sport right now. They finished first and second in the Australian Championship last year. Those guys were the guys that were winning all the races, and between them, they've won more races than anyone else combined in the country to start this year. They're the 2 most winningest drivers in the nation. Lockie McHugh, based out of the Gold Coast. Jock Goodyer, based out of Tasmania. And they're at opposite sides of the country, but they seem to find each other on the racetrack a lot. It could be a little bit of a grudge match this speed week coming up. And especially how good Jock is down particularly that part of the world. So it could be said, Jock may not be in magnificent form at Toowoomba or those kind of places, but certainly at Warrnambool, the kid's a jet down there. He will be exceptional. Are we going to throw the D5 in there? Is the D5 of J-Mac... Surely J-Mac's going to do Speed Week. I'm tipping he'll probably do 2 or 3 nights. Now, that's a bit of an oddity, and again, we're going to sound like we're explaining things a lot, but we might have some new Speedway fans jumping on early in the piece here. And James McFadden, he is the it thing when it comes to Australian sprint car racing. He's been making a career for himself over in America, racing in the World of Outlaws, which is by far the premier series in the world. Comes home for a little holiday every year and jumps in a race car. I think last year he walked away with $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in prize money, and just picks select shows. And whenever he rolls up, he's just got a horde of fans. He rolled into the country last week. He flew across to Perth, 1 night deal, drove someone else's race car, and of course he won the thing. I'm tipping he'll probably be a bit of a challenger. You jumped the lead there, but it's exciting to have James McFadden back in the country as well, Ryan. Oh well, he's as big a name as any American that comes over here. The guy is a superstar. There's no question about it. And that whole motorsports operation with the Hodges Motorsport deal, with Napa Auto Parts and everyone else involved, it is absolutely Mickey Mouse. And they're, I'm sure it'll be good to see him on the road. It will. And that's probably a name that some of the SEN listeners, Jared Watley, Tim Hodges, Scott McLaughlin, there's a big ownership group behind that team, and it's exciting what they're doing in the sport. And we might touch base on that later in the year as we move along. You mentioned McFadden, you've mentioned McHugh and Goodyer. Those are the, I guess, 3 peak names around the country right now.